Ready?
Yep.
Okay, so one of the questions we had covering half guard this month was, what happens when I'm in half guard? I'm applying the half guard, and we're working with the underhook, and they are coming in and they start working a Darce, okay? They want to know what happens. They get stuck in this position, and this hand's coming up, they're pushing in, and they're locking in that Darce, and some of these individuals with very long arms are catching students in this position. And it's a very common position. I mean, because I'm basically sticking my head to you to create a good base, okay? But at the same time, if I don't get up on my hand, I'm low, and they can sneak in that Darce. If you have long arms, it's even easier for that person. So what can we do to stop the Darce is something we talked about. So we're gonna go over that again today, and then I'm gonna talk about how to actually get out of the position. So if we're in half guard, and I'm trying to push up into my hand, okay? I'm trying to get to my old school sweeps, whatever, shuck the shoulder, and they begin to start locking the Darce. I need to understand that right away when I feel this heavy whizzer coming on, that I'm in a threat to get choked, okay? So regardless if it's way down here or way up here, I'm always able to be choked at this point, all right? So I don't want to wait till this arm comes over my head to like, oh, I'm getting choked now, okay? So right away, I'm gonna regrip, okay? A regrip just means I'm gonna simply just grab them when they try to anchor into me, okay? I prefer to do a C grip, and I'm gonna go on top of the wrist, okay? At this point, I prefer grabbing the wrist, because if I grab the hand, he's got more leverage, and even though I can shut his hand off at this process, he can pull his hand out and simply just re-grip the whizzer if he has to. So I'm gonna grip over the wrist and get a C-clamp grip, okay? Now, I like to go on top of the thumb if possible, all right? That gives me a lot better defense. I don't like to go right here, because once again, my fingers can't touch, and he can simply pull his hand all the way out. Pull it out all the way. I can't hold on, but here, I can grip better, and then I'm anchored behind that big meat of thumb, and he can't pull his arm out as much, okay? Now, I'm not trying to yank his arm or anything, I'm just trying to prevent him from coming up into my neck, okay? Now, what I wanna do at this point is, I gotta move, I've gotta get out at this point. Now, with that whizzer, I can't shut that shoulder off anymore, but I gotta hold on because I don't wanna get Darced, okay? So, I'm gonna make sure that my back leg, the outside leg is coming over to the inside. So come over to the camera. So I'm making sure that leg comes over to here, all right? By doing that, I'm gonna grab that foot and I'm gonna start turning that hip out, okay? I wanna shut his hips off, okay? Now, I'm going to roll myself underneath him. Now, some of our old school rolls or some of our other rolls that we learned for sweeps were rolling over the shoulders when they posted this leg, and we would catch them like this, okay? And I'd say don't roll onto your lower back, roll more onto your shoulders. This time we're actually gonna roll more onto our lower back because our hips are gonna do the rolling, all right? I'm not trying to pull him over with my arms. My arms are locked into place, okay? I gotta hold him in place. I gotta hold that hand so I don't get Darced. So my bottom knee is gonna come up as I take his foot and I start to drag it. I'm gonna scoop and scoop and scoop and scoop until I come all the way underneath him and come up into side control, and I still have his hand, all right? It's not gonna go, whoop. It's not gonna be like this sweep, okay? It's not gonna work like that. I'm gonna have to keep scooting and using my hips, all right? As I stop this position and I'm pulling his foot out to open his hips, I'm gonna scoot underneath. Now, another thing that you can do is bring this knee inside and start scooting, and what it's gonna allow you to do is create a little butterfly hook. But I'm gonna keep scooting, keep scooting, keep scooting, and pull him over that way. It's essentially the exact same escape. It's just the first one I kept the leg underneath and scooted my knee up behind him, and it looks like this. Scoot, 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 scoot. And the next one was pushed, come in, scoot, 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 flip over. I prefer the second option because the butterfly hook always gives you a better sweep, okay? And regardless if they try to counterbalance back onto you, you always have your foot and your butterfly hook to keep them at bay as they're trying to fly on top, okay? As they get better and better, your opponent will begin to move much more on top of you, not always on the ground, all right? Okay, so one more time. We're having an issue with being in half guard, trying to do our escapes or whatever. Person wizards us really hard, but they've been coming on top of our head and pushing us down and getting darced, okay? So right when I feel this deep wizard coming in, not a regular wizard, but a deep one, I know I'm in risk for a choke. So I'm gonna clamp on top, come underneath, and I'm going to pull that leg out and start to scoot my hips. And come into side control. Now, I still have his arm. You know, and depending what they do, I come up and start attacking. Regardless, I have a control point, not just a position, but I have the position and the control point. All right? Okay.